Hi, everybody. Have you ever been prepared to really hate a movie just because of what Rotten Tomatoes rated it at? Me too. Stay tuned and see what I thought of the movie The Tender Bar. Hold on. Hi, everybody. Grandma Bev here from Life with Grandma Bev. And as many of you know who already follow me, Bob and I, for the past, I don't know, umpteen years, have always gone to the movies on Fridays. That's just kind of our date day. And even around the RV park here, everybody got to know all Fridays, oh yeah, they're on their date day. But since the virus hit, we have not been to a movie theater. So we had to start, what do you say, adapting. So we just started watching a movie here in the motorhome, and then when we're back up at home in Washington, we've been watching this movie in our house. We try to make it as dark as we can. Bob makes good popcorn. So I decided just to start sharing my opinion of some of these movies that we are watching with you. So this week, on Friday, we ended up watching The Tender Bar. Now, what is that about, you may wonder? Well, let's see. It's got a good cast in it. It's got Ben Affleck, a new guy, Ty Sheridan, who I'm not very familiar with, Lily Robb, who is Joe Clabor's daughter, Christopher Lloyd, who we all know from Back to the Future especially, and a couple of other people, too, that you see them and you think, where have I seen them at? So, of course, nowadays you just look them right up. Anyway, I'm reading my notes. I mentioned the Rotten Tomatoes. Well, the Tomatometer gave it 52%. But the audience gave it a 73% score. And here's what the critics' consensus was. They don't take into consideration my opinion. It's well acted and suffused with a warm, nostalgic glow, but none of that is enough to overcome the Tender Bar's sleepy, sentimental noddling. Anyway, itchy nose. Never have an itchy nose, it just won't stop itching. So the info on the movie is, The Tender Bar tells a story of J.R., who's played by Ty Sheridan. And J.R. doesn't stand for anything. It's not like a Joseph Randall, like my dad, or it's just for Junior, J.R. And people are always asking the poor kid, well, what's J.R. stand for? And the kid feels like he doesn't have an identity. He is a fatherless boy growing up in the glow of a bar where the bartender, who's his Uncle Charlie, Ben Affleck, is the sharpest and most colorful of an assortment of quirky and demonstrative father figures. As the boy's determined mother struggles to provide her son with opportunities denied to her and leave the dilapidated home of her outrageous, if begrudgingly supportive father, played by Christopher Lloyd, J.R. begins to gamely, if not always gracefully, pursue his romantic and professional dreams, with one foot persistently placed in Uncle Charlie's bar. The Tender Box is based on the best-selling memoir of the same name by J.R. Moehringer, Moehringer. So, the movie starts out, and of course the kid is doing the telling of it, being some memoir, kind of like John Boy used to talk about, and always have him talking in the background. So this kid's talking about how he and his mother had to move back with her parents, and it seems to be the gathering place for she and all her siblings. As they have different life struggles, they end up moving back home with mom and dad. Well, JR and his mom end up staying there. And JR's biological father is actually a disc jockey referred to as the voice. So JR is always listening to the radio to hear his father's voice, even though he never sees him. And every once in a while, the father will call up and say, I'm going to come take you to a game or something. The poor kid sits out there and he never shows up. But luckily, his Uncle Charlie kind of steps in the the role of that. And Charlie's really a smart guy, played excellently, I think, by Ben Affleck. In fact, I had seen where he was nominated for a couple of awards from this movie for his acting. He steps in there and kind of really gives the kid good advice, gets him reading all kinds of books and things. And the mother's biggest dream, as she always insists, is that the boy's going to go to Yale. So you got to watch the movie to see what he ends up doing. And this was rated R, because there's some sexual content, though. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, the director was George Clooney. We all know him. It came out on December 22nd of 2021 on the widescreen, and the release date for streaming just happened on January 7th. It's on Amazon, so prime time. So one thing I feel is, when you're raising your kids, and maybe there's two parents, for one isn't always the greatest, and and the kid kind of puts that father like on a pedestal, thinking that the father would only come near him, he'd be like this, he'd have this kind of life and all that kind of stuff. And it's when a child becomes an adult that they really see what the parents were, the roles of both parents, So he grows up and gets to that point, and of course you'll want to see if he goes to Yale, what he does. He wants to be a writer, I mean, it's not easy to do. You got to have it to be able to write. But Charlie's always there encouraging him, and the grandfather, he's kind of a gruff little guy, but aren't they all? And it was cute because one of the functions at school was for a Father's Day, where you had to bring your father to a breakfast, I think it was, or a lunch. And his grandfather ended up going with him, got all slicked up. I thought that was kind of cute, kind of touching, because he acted like he didn't care about people, but he did. So, what did Bob and I think of it? We liked it. I'd give it like a 4-star, So critics, pay attention to what us ordinary folks, us folks who go to movies, like. I don't think if there's anything else I should tell you about it. Yeah, I think I've told you enough. The rest you got to find out by going and watching it. Or not going, just go sit in your living room, turn on Amazon Prime and find it. Again, it's called The Tender Bar. Tenderbar. And of course, the kid kind of hangs out in the Tender Bar, and there's regulars in there that kind of help assist too with help filling the fatherly role. So it's cute. It's a cute movie. Like I say, 4 stars, 4 fingers, 4 thumbs up. So watch it, and after you do, what am I doing? Subscribe, share. No, I'm goofing up. Comments, share, like, subscribe, and I hope you've got a clearer mind than I do. I love you all. Bye.